We are right in the midst of this Kickstarter wave of games and technology, and today we're looking at a game called Shadowrun Returns. This was a huge success in the crowdfunding platform, but this is basically an isometric RPG. This is a throwback to an old game, which of course we have our encyclopedic man over here who's going to be able to talk about it back in the day. And the neat thing here is it's really built for a modding community. So this is kind of the beginning of something more to come.
If you're not familiar with Shadowrun, it takes place in the 2050s. It's kind of a cyberpunk meets Lord of the Rings kind of thing. It's this high-tech world where all of a sudden one day magic came back into the world and people started mutating into elves and trolls and dragons. And so it's this really weird chocolate and peanut butter mix of Blade Runner and The Hobbit. Shadowrun Returns is made by the same guy who made the original pen and paper game, and it kind of captures the feeling of the Genesis and SNES games. It is a turn-based tactical RPG, so if you're a fan of Fallout or Fallout 2, two of my favorite old school games, you'll feel right at home here, and it's really faithful to the Shadowrun universe.
I have to say, one of the best things about this game is the atmosphere. I think that the tone and the world are really, really cool. The first adventure is called Dead Man's Switch. Basically, a character dies, and upon his death, his lawyer sends out a message to his old running mate, this is you, and you have to solve the mystery of his death. The mechanics are there, but the RPG and the tactical-based stuff, they really feel challenging to me yet. So I think this is the beginning, and there's more to come.
They've got the Shadowrun thing down because that is the creator's thing. I mean, he invented this universe. The descriptions are great, the locations are great, the dialogue is fantastic. There's some really good writing in this game, so it really captures the vibe. But I'm totally with you. The mechanics of the actual RPG stuff aren't quite there. It's maybe even a little simple. Kind of wish that the skill trees went a little deeper. I kind of wish the conversation trees were a little more expansive. The turn-based combat is very similar to a lot of the other turn-based RPGs. Even though it gives you the whole Shadowrun universe and the Shadowrun vibe, it doesn't bring a lot into it from a gameplay standpoint that we haven't seen.
It doesn't feel RPG enough for me, and then even in the turn-based combat, most of the enemies are not that difficult to defeat. And hey, like, I'm not a big tactics guy because I'm just bad at tactical games, but honestly, this felt a little bit simple.
Shadowrun has such a die-hard community of longtime fans. I'm really looking forward to what these people are going to do with the editing tools, what kind of adventures they're going to create. I gotta say, just from a basic standpoint, it's a competent game. I was engaged.
I think the story is really well told. You know, this is a great little whodunit, good caper, detective story.
Yeah.
I came into this completely new, and if I didn't know that there was more to come and this massive history that people want to build up, I'd kind of be like, well, is that all there is? Like, I don't know if there was enough from this to make me come back.
As a Shadowrun fan, I would like to see Shadowrun Returns branch out a lot more. I want to see the next chapter. I want to see what the users are going to come up with, because I feel like this universe is so rich. There's so much fertile ground to be just taken advantage of here. What are you going to give Shadowrun Returns?
For me, it's a 7.
Me too. 7 out of 10.